It is me, the underconfident human. I thought for today's ASMR video, I'd give a little attention to the leftovers, the misfits, like not the band, them too. But you know, I have an obsession. I have a real problem. I love patches. I've always loved patches. I love collecting and, you know, putting patches on things, as you probably have guessed once or twice from past videos. But like, patches, when I buy patches, I will buy a few, at least two, maybe even three of the same patch. And why? Because if I decided that I liked a patch enough to want to buy it, I like to have a couple, so I have options. Because I'll always feel like if I have one and stick it on something, then I'll find something else I want to put that same patch on, and I've only got one. It's ridiculous, but the struggle is real. Anyway, kind of just to go in line with my previous videos, maybe I thought I would kind of break out the leftovers, the patches that I own so far that I have not stuck on anything. Some of them are old, some of them are new-ish. Quite a few are new. Just stuff I found and I knew I might not find again so easily, so I went and got it. Anyway, I say we take a look. I think a fun pair, first of all. Would be my embroidered Los Pollos Hermanos patches. I haven't figured out even what I'm doing with these yet, but I loved them, so I had to get them. Because, as you may or may not know, I'm kind of a big fan of the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul TV series. So I have no space on my battle jacket for these patches. I have no space on my winter coat for these leftover patches. So I either have to remove and reorganize or come up with another project. Los Pollos Hermanos, Chicken Brothers. One taste, and you'll know. Next up, Atari. You know, I am a nerd. I am a gamer. The first console I ever played as a kid was the Atari 2600. So of course I have a soft spot in my heart for Atari. such a soft spot. In fact, just a little secret, I had a music project once upon a time, and I produced chiptune music with what started with one and then became two Atari 2600s. And then at one point I even wrote a song that I was using two Ataris and an Atari 2600 emulator on a third machine. It was crazy. That was a brief but strong hobby obsession of sorts that I had, was producing music with the Atari. It's a solid, heavy patch, well embroidered. You know, a lot of these are iron-on with that glue on the back, but I don't ever iron on my patches. I always sew them on. That way I know they're not going anywhere. But the Atari patch left behind. This one is the logo for an electronic industrial metal, just industrial blast called Combi Christ. I like Combi Christ quite a bit. Christ has been around for quite a while. Another few patches I have that I never really got to make use of. Start with these two. Get that up right, maybe, huh? A couple of Charlotte Hornets patches. I know. It's not too often you see a nerd or a kind of a like a music junkie like me, dude that would rock Battlejacket in particular. You don't see him often, I don't think, too much into sports, but I always did love my Hornets. I love Charlotte in general. It's just, it's home, but Hugo the Hornet, the old school Charlotte Hornets, they're not the most well-made patches I've ever seen, but they are fully embroidered. I never quite worked in a space for them. Along with those, I found a much cleaner, much nicer embroidered Charlotte Hornets patch. It's an actual sew-on, and it's got this kind of almost, I don't know what that material is, like a vinyl or something. With the embroidery, this one's really nice and well made. But again, I was going to do with it yet. Yeah. Place I used to live once upon a time. This was the mascot of the local high school, and it's not even a school that I went to. I did not go to this school, but let's just say that this town is as a whole town, an entire city is really dedicated to their high school football team. And if you live there long enough, it does sort of rub off on you after a while. even when I bought this, I didn't have any plans for it, and I still don't to this day. It's just sort of a memory, if anything, but it's another one in the batch here that never quite found a home. Next we have Dear Little Maggie. I don't remember where I got this one. As you can tell, it's a bit faded compared to how it used to look. It's a little older, but I don't know what to do with it. It's one of those random impulse purchases. I don't know if I found this at maybe in Hot Topic or Music Shop or what, but it's just one of those I'll find a use for it eventually, because who doesn't love sweet little Maggie? Hours. A printed patch for a single from kutte. This is old school industrial music for those that don't know. At one point, this was on an early incarnation of my Battlejacket that I'm wearing right now. I think it used to be down toward the low end of the vest somewhere. I don't remember. Maybe it was on the back or the side. What did I do with this thing? Anyway, it was originally on there and eventually got squeezed out, because I do love kutte, but there's just other things, other bands and stuff I love more. But this is still a pretty bitchin' patch. Got an embroidered Rancid patch. I have two of these. This one, at least one of those found a home. The other one still has not, obviously, but I suppose Rancid and ASMR are probably a couple of things that don't really go together. What do you do? Next, another Simpsons one of the Simpson patches that fell in the mix. That classic meme of Homer kind of slinking back into the bushes. Nerding out a bit. Do you know what this is? Does this look familiar? I'm waiting. No? This is the actual logo for the United Federation of Planets. I've mentioned in the past that I was, of course, quite literally born and raised, well, just born and grew as a Trekkie. Next Generation was new when I was little, and Patrick Stewart is Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And I used to watch Next Generation very intently as a little child. It'd be cartoons, or sometimes Bob Ross, and always Star Trek. Whenever that was on, I would just apparently, according to what my mom would tell me, just phase out and watch. Like I went from being this slightly hyper, ornery little kid to just watching. So she always knew if Star Trek was on, she was going to get a break. Anyway, this was another one I came across online once upon a time, and it was as an early incarnation of this exact vest. It used to be on the back side over there. This also was on this vest once upon a time. It ended up getting squeezed out. I haven't figured out what to do with it yet. Bugs Bunny has always been and will always be my most favorite cartoon character, period. I love Bugsy. I have a fairly decent size library of Bugs Bunny cartoons too. I've collected over the years DVDs and even some of the banned episodes from way back. But I love Bugsy, so I'll find a use for this one eventually because this patch is just too awesome. At one point I had it underneath this KMFDM patch on the back of this jacket. So, because it just, the facial expression kind of fits, right? But a couple of stragglers. I'm not really a fan of this style of patch, but I couldn't resist. I got a silk screen printed KMFDM patch, 2 of them. That's kind of on this sort of like polyester, really heavy polyester or some sort of material. They don't look bad initially. They have a, kind of a sewing around the outside that keeps the edges extra stiff. But the reason I don't like this style of patch is because this silkscreen crap weathers pretty quickly. It does just over a little bit of time and a little bit of rubbing kind of start to rub off. It's heavy duty, I suppose, but they do just get kind of flaky and crappy after a few years, and I don't like them. But I was flipping KMFDM patches, so I had to get them. Another one of a couple I bought at a time that I ended up using the one. Thinking backwards here. I can't get up out of my chair without making a lot of noise, so I guess I won't. But I attached kind of a, depending on the music, depending on the song, I guess, Leftover Crack, kind of a hardcore thrash punk band. Also, sometimes I'll flip the script and go straight ska on you. But anyway, yeah, I guess you either know the music or you don't. Leftover Crack is kind of their own entity. But this one has a really heavy vinyl backing, like smooth vinyl, and then the front, I don't know if that material is polyester or what, but it's heavy, and again, it's a badass patch. I had trimmed it down a little bit when I was trying to work with it, because it was a little bit taller, but I just never quite found a way to squeeze it in to where I wanted it. And again, it is the printed thing. I have a little bit of printed stuff on this vest. The Leftover Crack patch I have on the side is one of them. It's narrower than this, a little more narrow, so I was able to fit it in. But just another printed patch I have not yet found a use for, I guess. This one came with some gear I ordered once ages ago. Rockford Fosgate. I have got a pretty lifelong obsession with bass, loud, booming bass. My cousin used to babysit me a lot when I was real little, in fact. Mom would be working and she'd watch me and her husband, who I also called my cousin because I was a kid. So, that's funny, cousins. But anyway, he had a little Toyota Tercel. It's a small, little economy, kind of sleek-looking car way back in the early 90s. Or hell, that might have even been late 80s when he had that thing. But he had an 18-inch Earthquake Annihilator subwoofer in the back of that. And that was my introduction to bass, to booming bass. I was really into hip-hop as a kid, so of course anytime I went over there to be watched, I would have my pockets stuffed with cassettes, begging him to let me sit in the car and listen to some of my music through that stereo system, right? So anyway, yeah, I do have a pretty long-standing love of subwoofers and amps and all that stuff. But the first brand I ever fell for toward the end of high school was Rockford Fosgate, and I stuck by them. So I'm a Fosgate man, and I got just an embroidered patch I never quite put to use. I've talked in the past about how much I love typo negatives, so that shouldn't even surprise anybody. This patch is on this vest right now. In fact, I think I bought like 4 of these because I really love the design of this particular patch. The black, the green is correct. The life is killing me. Pulse right there. So yeah, I bought several of these just because the price was good. The quality was real good. See, it's got that kind of heavy vinyl-like material or something like that. Then the embroidery. I've got other typo in here somewhere in this collection, I think. These ones got stuck together. This is what I use to sew on my patches at the start to hold it in place. This medical tape works perfect. Anyway, another kind of a more decorative patch than music related, just something I never found a use for. What is normal for the spider is chaos for the fly. That fantastic quote that, as far as I'm aware, came from Morticia Addams in the Addams Family movie and from the 90s. I thought it was a pretty badass patch. The white spider web and the gray wings, it's just a nice, what is normal for the spider is chaos for the fly. This was currently unused. My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult embroidered patch. As you know, if you paid any attention to my previous videos about my battle jacket or my winter coat, I have several different Thrill Kill Cult patches and a few different ones on both of these, front and back. I really love My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, as you know, so of course they deserve a few different patches on my gear, in my opinion. This is one of the designs that I never really used. I kind of don't care for this patch, not because of the TKK design, but the colors, just the sort of almost orange, and it's yellow. If you've seen it in person, it almost has a slight hint of orange, but it is just yellow and red, and I hate those two colors. Yellow and red just makes me think of McDonald's or something, I don't know. Tap on the patch for a moment, because you should know by now one thing you can't have is an underconfident human ASMR video and not have copious amounts of tapping. Just because as maybe base and generic as some people might think it by this point, now that ASMR has been around for so many years, but tapping is just one of the things that does it for me. Next, I have a few of these. As you know, there's one on the back of this vest right now, and then there's another one on my coat. Ministry. Fucking ministry. This was supposed to be an iron-on, and this, when I was messing with these, I managed to peel the glue off the back. It came off pretty easily, so, which is proof that if you would have ironed a patch like this on, the sucker would have come off eventually. But, so it's nice and smooth and soft now. But, yeah, Uncle Al Jorgensen, Ministry. I just saw them earlier this year. Concert. Ministry. Okay. Next, I have a pair of printed patches that are quite large, and because of their size, which when I bought them online from the site that had them, I didn't know they were this big. Maybe I didn't pay attention to the dimensions. But I have a couple of Clan of Zymox printed patches from the same company that made those KMFDM ones. It's that heavy, like, canvas type material, and the heavy silkscreen print. As you can see on this one, that one's already starting to kind of flake a bit. Yeah, giant. I mean, just, you know, size of my fist for scale. But Clan of Zymox patches. You all know how much I love Clan of Zymox, so I'll find a use for those at some point, I'm sure. They've been sitting around for a while now. Another Target brand Ziploc bag, more of a few patches. Let's see what we got. Okay. This one's still in a little plastic thing. This is Red Man. You know, the rapper Red Man. This one, I only have the one of right now, because it's all the shop had. But I mean, back in that high school era of my first car, I do know that, you know, the system I had in there, Red Man's first album called What? The Album. What? The album. Not what the. But anyway, yeah, this album, his first album, used to bang in my system from time to time. I like Red Man. I think he's cool as shit, you know. It's a small and narrow patch, so it'd be good for the waistline or something like that. One of my favorite designs of these. That's why I bought a few of them. Another My Life with the Thrill Kill called. This one is on the back of my back of this jacket here, this vest. And no, did I put this on the front? No, I got the Electro Demon on the front, and this one's on the backs. Sometimes I forget. This one is on the back of this vest, and it's on the front pocket of the winter coat currently. And then there's this one that hasn't been used yet. of these. Front 242. Now, I believe it's always traditionally been pronounced as front 242, but I can't help it. I like to say 242. So, anyway, front 242 has a pretty solid place on my list of personal influences. It's one of those. It's got that. This was from Nuclear Waste Underground. I've gotten quite a few patches from them. It's got that sort of vinyl-like backing and then the embroidery. I think I have another one of these somewhere. So this was, I think I explained this once in one of my previous videos because the patch was on one of my garments, but so technically this patch is for alien vampires, really raw, industrial, techno, industrial, electro band, very gothic and dark. But this patch, I don't really know alien vampires very well, and I didn't buy it for them. I bought it as sort of a tribute to a Wax Trax, an old school industrial group that I liked from Wax Trax Records called Ajax. Ajax way predates alien vampires and had this exact logo on kind of a semi-transparent stamp in the background behind the picture on the front cover of the album. And why? I have no idea. Because I can see the AV like alien vampires, why Ajax had this logo, and I'm sure this logo is probably one of those symbols that's a little more ancient than that and has other meanings or whatever, and I don't know. But I just remember this design for Ajax, and you all know how much I love my industrial music, and of course anyone that likes any sort of industrial music at least knows, if not greatly loves, Wax Trax. Ajax was on my list of Wax Trax people that, so that's the whole reason I bought this. So it's not for alien vampires, it was for Ajax. Another, which again I bought a few of, this one is on the back lower section of this vest, and this is also on the front of my winter coat. Another typo negative patch. Fantastic quality with the heavy kind of like vinyl backing there, and the embroidery is impeccable, the colors are impeccable, very good quality. So yes, I bought a few of those. Here in the bundle, another one of those orange and red TKK patches, which again I hate the color scheme. Small embroidered patch for the Legend of Zelda. This is the Hyrulean crest. This is small enough I should be able to stick it somewhere, but then again, maybe not. Of course, you, the viewer, I'm sure you could tell me right where to stick it. Another patch I haven't quite found a use for. I know where I got this one was up here at the local record shop, one of them. And the reason I bought this is because it describes my life, basically. The life I always knew I was going to have. Peon in a dead-end job that'll never be successful at anything. Never have a real family, never have a woman, never have luxuries or financial security to speak of, because I'm just kind of dumb. So yeah, this was a patch representing me. No future. As you know, there's a few of these. I bought several of these. this sort of biker patch style for KMFDM. Really heavy, well, super thick glue on the back. This is a mother to sew through. But I like the embroidery work. It's a quality patch, but I bought several of these at the time. There's, as you know, one here. There's one on my winter coat. I also have one of these sewn to my yellow or my orange safety vest for work. It's right up here on my vest. Extra KMFDM. Another front 242. Like I said many times probably by now, as I've bought, if I find a patch I really like, if there's at least 2 or 3 for me to get a hold of, I will, so that I have options. Vinyl, like, I don't know if it's vinyl, it feels like vinyl to me, but whatever that backing is, and very thorough, well-made embroidery. This is a quality patch. This little dude here, I bought this online. I remember getting it from a shop in the UK, so it took weeks to get here. It's just a sew-on, very small little Tribe Called Quest patch. Because, always love Quest. Science. It's Rick, come on. This one I got cheap. I don't actually know why I bought it in terms of the color scheme, because I like Combi Christ quite a bit. Combi Christ. But I'm not one of these camo people at all. Like the whole camo look and all that, I don't care for it whatsoever. So that's probably the primary reason this patch is unused. But I guess I ended up grabbing it for the collection back whenever the hell it was I bought it, because it is Combi Christ and you don't see industrial shit like this too often. So got another one of those kind of silk screened printed patches for craft work. Another group that is reasonably high on my personal list of influences. This one is for Lucas Sakan. He's a producer that you at some point in your life have heard something he produced. He worked with a lot of big people. Dude has crazy platinum plaques on his wall. But in the early 90s, before he went down that road, he was a rapper. He produced only 2 records, 2 full-length albums, and his second album was one that had a pretty big impact on me as a kid. The album by Lucas, just Lucas, is called Lucacentric. So I actually found a cheap little site that makes embroidered patches and made this to because that album was important to me, or important to a very young piece of my childhood. Very important. So I had a patch made specifically for it. It's corny, it's cheap, but the last batch. What do you think, guys? Does the sound of Bag-O patches, does that sound good? Zymox printed patch in there. I know I scooped them up because they were cheap, but there's another one in the mix. Now, one that I bought several of and have used, one of my Clan of Zymox patches, one of the good ones. Got that kind of vinyl-like backing, the thick, heavy embroidering. It's in a sew-on, so there's no glue. This patch, as you know, or maybe don't know, is on the back of this vest. It's on the front and back of my winter coat. I used two of them because I took a blue Sharpie and made one of these blue. And then when it dried, it was a little bit lighter blue, so it matches the color of blue that was used on the Clan of Zymox album, Hidden Faces. So two on the winter coat, one here, and one of these on my work vest, my safety vest. And this one was an additional one I bought that so far is left over. This one's on this coat, on my winter coat, and this one here, unused as yet, sort of a smaller version of this design. My Life with the Thrill Kill called Demon patch. I was looking for smaller patches to fit on my collars here, and I had a couple different sort of designs or prints for the Misfits. This one's got more embroidery because it's fully embroidered, and this one right here has sort of a canvas backing of sorts, and then just the black is embroidered, whereas this whole thing is embroidered. But still have this. Here we have Nitzareb. So you can read it this way, right? Is this how it's supposed to go? Nope. This is the actual correct orientation of this patch. I stuck one of these on my winter coat. I don't have one on here because I have a Nitzareb patch, a different style, down on the waistline of my battle vest here. But yeah, this is the correct orientation. This is the Nitzareb logo from that Total Age. I like the backing on this, and no glue, so it was meant to be sewed on. But yeah, the color scheme, the logo, and this is the album that had Join in the Chant on it, which is probably one of Nitzareb's most known industrial, like classic old school traditional industrial right here. Nitzareb. For some more of that hardcore electronic techno industrial, sometimes industrial metal, Three Teeth. I tried to squeeze this one in. I trimmed it a bit, but ended up using it for a brief time and then switching it out. That's another one of my silk screen printed patches. Another Alien Vampires. So, Ajax. So here's another Tribe Called Quest patch. I really want to put this on one of my garments at least, because this is the only one I could find at the time. So I only have this one version of this, but I just don't have any damn space. The struggle is real. You have so much stuff that you love, but you know, you go to make a garment of some sort, you only have so much space to work with. So yes, the struggle is quite real. Anyway, a nice, well embroidered, all embroidered Tribe Called Quest. Oh, what do you know? Another one of these. I don't know how many I bought. You can't ask me that. I just know I bought a crap ton of them at the time. I took all that were available, I think. Another one of the stories of my life right here, the No Future. These are a sort of printed patch that I have quite a few of, and you've seen some of them on my gear. From Razor Ray. The shop is called Razor Ray. I think he's from Poland, but the way he prints patches for being printed, it's like the fibers are printed. It's not silk screen. If I throw this in the washing machine, it won't lose any color because the very fibers themselves are the color you see. So he had a whole bunch of KMFDM ones, and I bought a small handful of them. I've got a couple on my winter coat, you know, I've got these on my vest. I even stuck the cover of Glory, the single for Glory, on my rucksack. This one is currently unused. That's the album Symbols. This very heavy, thick, embroidered patch is from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is the symbol for the Sheikah, or if you want to sew it the other way, it becomes the symbol for the Yiga clan. So you're either for the descendants, the ancient descendants of Hyrule, the Sheikah, or for the army and supporters of Ganon, the Yiga clan. A pair of these that I thought was pretty funny. I was going to put these on the waistline of my vest, just above the bottom, like right where my ass crack would be. Don't touch me, because that would be just funny. But I already have stuff back there, stuff all around the waistline of this, and I never used them. And I think my biggest issue with these is this white canvas background. This thing would get pretty ratty looking in no time. So, and it's very thin and cheap, but funny. Don't touch me. This is sort of random. I don't know that it even has any real special meaning to me, but it's supposed to be, I believe, the cycles of the moon. And this is one that came from the record shop because it just randomly caught my eye one day, and it was like, why not? The last one of these canvas silkscreen crap patches is this sort of beefy, big typo negative patch here. This is an embroidered patch for Ghost, the band Ghost and their logo, the inverted cross with the G. I love the colors. I mean, I really, really love the colors. Like, that is the correct blue. Opus eponymous blue. And it's got that vinyl-like backing. This is one it was on an early incarnation of this very vest. I just don't have anywhere I can use it. Tick-tock, right? To the sound of the monstrance clock. I have one of these on the back, kind of below my elbow, I guess you would say, backside. This was listed on eBay as Dopey Devil, and it stuns me that there's people that don't know what this is. The person selling this doesn't know. I just find it hard to believe. But this is not just some cutesy Dopey Devil. This is the mascot, the Beastie mascot for the FreeBSD operating system. The Unix, the true Unix descendant, BSD. I think if I have any Linux guys out there, you might have at least heard the name before, but BSD is the true spiritual successor to Unix. It's not a Unix-like offshoot like Linux is. But anyway, yeah, this is the exact original mascot for FreeBSD, and I found a couple of these patches, so I stuck them on my vest here. I might try to squeeze them in on my winter coat at some point, but I'm kind of out of space on that thing too. But anyway, I'm a FreeBSD fan, so makes sense. This patch hasn't really gotten much use. This is, I can't remember the name of this god. This is supposed to be one of the terror gods. The big mass of tentacles. They did a rendition of this god on Skyrim, but it's not the same, not the correct name. So you could either see it as a dangerous vagina, but and then the symbolism on the outside. This is one I found at the record shop. That I just grabbed it, threw it in the bunch there. I knew once upon a time when I bought it, because it was on the packaging. This is one of the heathen gods, or one of the I don't know if it's one of the eldritch horrors or which. I don't know. It's not really my gig, but what the hell? It's in the pile. This one got squeezed out, and it was another one like that Tribe Called Quest patch that took some very heavy deliberation, because I really love this patch. This is so cool, and I don't know. And if you guessed Dr. Doom, you're not quite right, but you're in the ballpark. This is Metal Face Doom, MF Doom. If you don't know who that is, he is probably one of the most eclectic, unique, truly unique, and grammatical rappers you've ever heard in the world of hip-hop. Metal Face Doom, or just MF Doom. My man typically raps in third person, which is a talent in and of itself. Most of the time, not all the time, but typically in third person. But I've known who this dude is a good chunk of my life, because I was really a big fan of Third Base as a kid, a hip-hop group called Third Base. And they put him and his people on, which was a group at the time called KMD. And he was Zev Love X. And I had both of those records from KMD, but on cassette. But Yeah, anyways, MF Doom. This patch is really well made. The quality is excellent, and it's unique. You really just don't see MF Doom too much. And that's a shame because this dude is such a genius. I mean, he's a true talent. Like he'd write funny rhymes, he'd write serious rhymes, but I mean his wordplay and complexity and metaphors and the layering and all that, this dude was just, MF Doom was really something special. Certainly, at least coming from the perspective of a straight up nerd, you know. Next, this one's a cheapie, sort of. The backing is very strange. I don't get what's going on with that color scheme at all, but this was meant to be a glue, an iron-on, and I sewed it on once, but it's the death card, or at least a version of a tarot card, the death card. The reason I had bought this, well, I bought a couple of these. One of these is on the outside of my winter coat. The reason I bought these is just kind of that reminder that this is the best. This is what the end of life looks like. This is how it goes. We all get the death card eventually. People don't realize how quickly and easily it'll come their way too. They think they'll live till they're old and gray and never have any problems. And the younger people are, the more they feel invincible. They feel like they're not going to die for a long time, and it can happen in a second. And that's grim, but that's reality. And this tarot card is sort of that reminder to me. Maybe that don't make sense, but the last one is one I've yet to use. I don't know if I'm even gonna. It's just one I grabbed it when I saw it because it was not related to any organization or anything else, but a Charlotte, North Carolina, home sweet home. And this one's sort of I got it because, again, it's not some organization or some group, it's just for the city. The thing I don't like about this particular patch is it gives me a sort of a country vibe. The font, and then this back is blue denim, like blue jean, darker blue jean denim. And so I can't say that that's entirely my vibe. Now I could maybe take a marker and adjust the coloring a bit, and it would stay that way. If I ever use this patch, that's probably what I'll do. At least make the blue denim black, so to speak. Anyway, it's just one of them in the leftover the collection that so there you have it. Those are my current batch of leftover patches, and there'll be more, because sometimes and it's a bad obsession, but I will randomly get this impulse if I see a certain patch on eBay or on one of the shops I visit online or at the record shop or whatever. If I see a patch that catches my eye because they're so cheap to buy, I'll buy it and throw it in the pile. Trust me. If you think my collection is ridiculous, I've seen people online over the years that talk about patches or whatever on YouTube and things like that, and their collection is way huger than mine. But all this is my currently unused ones. Bearing in mind, as you know, that there's a crap ton of patches on this, on the winter coat, on my safety vest for work. Like, I am just a patch person. It's one of my somewhere on my list of favorite things to just acquire and accumulate. But they have to be patches that have some relevancy to me. Like, I don't want a patch just because it's a patch, period. I want a patch that, whether it's something funny or goofy or serious or musical or political, or it doesn't matter. if I buy it, it's because it's something that is relevant or applies to me somehow. That's my one and only rule. But it's like a small mountain. I hope you possibly enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. This is the Underconfident Human signing out. See ya.